Here we go. Alright, so you're looking for a 8% at $5,105. I'm sure the board's going to ask you, just like they asked Howard, so let's hear it.
It's more than it's more than what the supervisor does. It's more than what anybody does in the town. I'm on the road steady, 7 days a week, especially all winter long, multiple times, 2-3 times easy, all winter long. My truck's up to the garage Saturdays, Sundays, Fridays. I don't know what else to tell you. I understand. I'm sure Mr. Newton and everybody else understands. We know that's part of the job, but it's like, you know, it is very excessive. I lose a lot. People don't think, but I lose a lot of sleep sometimes, and I have to sleep. I just want to do everything I can for the town, and I'm looking for what I believe I deserve it, because I'm on the go all the time for the town. I have been for over 40 years. So throw your questions at me.
Yeah, I think everybody works hard.
Yes, I do. But then again, I never got a 25% raise. I had it all taken from me, right from the start. If I haven't proved myself, I thought I proved myself before 2020 when I took the job, but apparently.
But you knew that when you took it.
I knew that when I took it. I'm sure everybody else knew what was going to be in store for them when they took it. So now we're here, so we're just asking for a little bit more. I'm asking for you asked Mr. Newton why 10%? It was a wish list. To me, it's not a wish list. They 8%, but I'll gladly settle for 5. I can't go any lower than that. The men up there, they're going to be getting 4.5 or 5%. You know, so.
What did we do last time?
$1. It was like 4.5%.
What did we do? It was different than the regular town people.
It was $1.
8%.
No, he's talking about the highway guys.
The highway guys. It was like 4.5%.
Yeah, it was more.
From memory, I mean,
Yeah.
you and Sharon worked on that to do that, but from memory, it was $1 per year for 3 years.
Yes.
The highways in year 2.
So it worked out to about a
I think
4.5% rate.
it's 3.
Well, what did we do with Mike?
The only thing, Mike, I would go, and you do. Matter of fact, every time I ask you, you know, we've worked together.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank Mr. Campbell also for what he said earlier.
But like I said, when we're looking at these raises on the percentages, everybody gets caught up with the percentages. I like to see what the dollar value is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because even Howard at 10%, it was $1,100. Okay.
Which, yes.
Yours at 8% is $5,105. So you have to look at the salaries with the percentage. I know people like to play the percentage game, okay, depending on what way it looks better or sounds better. I just try to make it fair for everybody. You know, I really don't think $1,100 was a lot to give Howard for what he was.
I don't either. I think he's doing an exceptional job.
It's crazy, but I'm only one on the board. So, but with yours, what's 5% work out to be, Mayor? Dan? Just so I got some kind of dollar amount. I hate percentages.
I agree with Allison. If you look at it, it's gonna be about 3,000. Give or take a couple dollars.
All right.
$31.90.
The same thing with mine. I was at $19,100. I got a $3,900 rate, and that was 25%. You know, it's You gotta look at the dollars.
3190.
It's nice to play the percentage game, that's all right. What was it?
3190 is 5%.
3190?
But you got a raise last year, Mike?
Yes. I asked for 10% last year, and I really thought it deserved it plus all the whole 10%.
I think we settled on 5% last
We
year,
settled
didn't we?
we settled on 5%.
3,000, roughly $3,000.
Yeah, 3,100
$3,100
bucks if we do 5.
I'm not in
Again,
favor of doing
I
that
mean-
unless we do something with Howard.
There
I
you
wouldn't
go,
do
that's
it.
what I'm saying.
I
So-
gotta agree with that.
So either you keep them all 3% if we're holding to that, or you keep them, you figure out what they're making. I don't care. You decide. I'm just saying, you have to start looking at the dollar amounts. You know, don't get caught up with the percentages. That's a easy game to play. When I'm looking at a budget, I'm looking at dollars and cents. How much is it? How much is it costing?
That's what
The
you take to
people.
the bank.
And what are they getting for service?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I think Mike Snyder and Howard Newton are doing a great job. They're both fantastic employees. They're doing exactly what they were hired for. And whatever Mike gets, Howard should get. Not taking anything away from the town clerk, who I know works like her ass off. You got 3 new councilmen, or 3 councilmen that are gonna be elected. You got a new superintendent. We're giving them 3%, not even knowing what kind of a job they're gonna do. And that's all I'm looking at is, okay, you're gonna give these guys a 3% increase, not having an idea of what kind of a job they're gonna do. I don't know if it's gonna be Reggie or Mindy as supervisor. I don't know who the councilmen are gonna be. And hopefully they all do a great job.
What's
So
that?
we've already said 3%.
Inflation rate, what was the inflation rate this year? Wasn't it 8 at the state fed level? Was it 8%?
Well, it's kind of a tough deal here because everybody's getting 3%.
Like,
Now you're changing it around. I
But-
mean, you're getting 3%, right? And your salary increase, you're right up there. You've been here for a long time, obviously. How do you do that? Give it to one and not the other? It's,
You did it last year,
the one thing I
with
would,
no controversy whatsoever.
wasn't it? We went like yours was 5% last year, Mike,
From 10%.
and everybody else.
No questions whatsoever. And nobody ever said I
You
was
put
doing
in
a
for
nice
10
job
and
or anything.
you got 5.
Correct. I'm putting in for 8 this year. 5, I'll get up and I'll leave and I'll be happy. Just like giving me $1 million.
right. You know what? And again, like I said, the jobs that didn't get hit, that we didn't drastically reduce the salaries on, everybody stayed at 3%. These, like I said, you gotta look at them and say, okay, are we good with what we're paying our employees in those jobs? And you're all happy with it? Are they doing a good job and their salary is still below what his salary's way below what the last guy was in there.
Mine's way below
10,000.
compared to all the other towns also.
Yeah, he was asking for 1,000.
I had to interrupt.
Mine, when you get to yours, because your salary's higher, it's harder, right? You know what I mean, Mike? Because of the dollars and cents.
Yes, yes, I do understand.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
10 or 8% or 10% of 68,000 is a lot more than
Yeah.
10% of 22,000. You know, all I'm saying is I want to be fair to everybody. That's all
Well,
I'm saying.
And again, you know,
you just got to look at it.
going forward here,
Go for it.
and you got Sam Campbell is sitting here,
Mhm.
that is doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
No question about it. Puts in way more hours than I would do it at that job.
Very super.
And you might as well take that into consideration at the same time. If he's, Sam, what is your increase? Like 8%, correct?
What's that?
Your increase you're looking for is 8%?
This year?
Last year.
Well, last year? Yeah, it was higher than 8%, I think.
$6,000 raise, right?
Because
11,000.
on the line item, it's not just my salary, it's a whole bunch of other things configured in, so.
But again, I mean, so we might as well take that into consideration at the same time. I mean, I agree that Mike and Howard, if you're gonna give Mike 5%, you should get Howard 5%. Sam should get 5%. Well, then that means everybody else that got 3% is like, well, geez, half the crew got 5%, I got 3%. I'm just saying that you've got people that are proven employees, you got new employees coming in.
Yeah, the only difference is that we didn't lower those salaries.
We also didn't raise, not, because you've been doing a great job, you got how many percentage last year?
20, it was almost 25%.
Okay, so then you had that another 3%, so in the last 2 years, that position, not your salary, but that position went up 28%.
And he's doing a
And then
fantastic job.
Reg, whoever gets elected, that means you just got, even at 3%, is 28% increase in pay in 2 years. It's not, I don't know how to say it. You guys gotta figure that it's not fair to all the employees, including the highway department, who's probably gonna get, I think, they're 4% this year.
Okay.
So if the highway
I think
department,
they're on there
and again,
last year, and I think it was 4, 4.5, and 4, and if they're on there last year, it should be 4.
4%.
Correct.
So they're gonna get 4%, everybody else gets 3%, and then the proven employees are gonna get a minimum of 5%. I don't think that you shouldn't get 5%. I'm not arguing that fact. I'm just
I
saying,
understand.
look at the total budget. It's not fair to all the other employees if you're not
I'll agree with you.
and on the same, it's up to you guys.
Earlier back in the budget, Mr. Gillette didn't even not even getting a raise.
He doesn't want to raise.
He doesn't want, because he's like at 30-something thousand.
Yeah, he didn't
and
last
knows
year.
I'm kind of,
Last
I've
few years,
reached
he hasn't
that
taken any
plateau where
percent.
that's,
Yeah.
for what I do, that's what
You know, so.
Unique situation. It's been
Well-
here forever.
Right.
Well, yeah, it was kind of the same way with
Yeah.
the other, code enforcement officer. He had been here 18 years, he was already there. He never wanted big raises because he was already there. But again, he never took mileage, and he never worried about it using his own car. So, because his salary
He did
made
take
the
the raises
difference.
though.
Huh?
He did take the
He did
raises.
take the raise.
Yeah, he took raises.
Yeah,
for
3% or whatever it was.
for many
That's what
years
he
he
did.
did.
Yeah, the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
And
He didn't really like to Mike what he did.
now the other,
Seriously.
Okay.
the other,
Seriously.
the other
Oh,
issue you
I
guys
did.
gotta think about,
These other guys did.
as you move
guys
these
want
positions
no.
up and you raise up the
You
pay,
guys want no.
okay? You guys aren't gonna be here forever. Kevin, you got raised up 25%. Hopefully, whoever gets elected as supervisor does half the job you did, 3/4 of the job you did. It'd be great if they did as good as you do. Then it's deserved. If they do nothing, if they go back to working 2 hours a day, coming in, answer all their emails or whatever, and take off for the day, this town got screwed.
Yeah, and I would look at the salary the following year.
And that's why well, and again, right now, we're gonna give them a 3% raise before we even know what kind of a job they're gonna do.
I don't think anybody, and I didn't ask for it.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying, you put the hours in, Howard is definitely putting the hours in, Mike definitely puts the hours in, and Sam definitely puts the hours in. Once you get that pay to here, unlike, and I hate to keep bringing Donna up here, when Donna took the job as water clerk, they cut the pay by $10,000. And that's the God's honest truth. Because she was a new person coming in. Well, we're giving new people coming in 3% increases. It's a hard call. What do you think, Reg?
What do you, But
You could be the new supervisor coming in.
This is tough for,
it's being fair and equitable.
I mean,
That's what I want to be, is fair and equitable.
I mean, like I said, you gotta look at what the salaries are for the rate. It's nice to do 3% fair for all across the board. But 3% of 20,000 ain't 3% of 70,000, okay? So, like I said, that's what you gotta look at. And you also gotta look at, like you're saying, the previous jobs, the only ones we're really pounding on right now were the ones that got reduced, right? Or hadn't been added to, like mine. When was the last time they gave these are right? You're not gonna get.
I'm not gonna.
I'm still working for $6 an hour with the time I'm
Because of
putting
the time
in.
you're putting in.
But
I
like I
thought
said,
we were working for less than that.
oh no, Mike.
That's the only reason why, I
You'd be
can
surprised.
only say the reason why I said
Be
3%.
surprised.
Because
No, I
you got
know
a
you
lot
put
of
in
new
some
people
time.
coming in, getting a 3% increase before they even start their first day. Is that fair? I don't know.
So it looks like
well,
he was.
Howard, if you were still on the town board, what would your thoughts be now? Not that you're in that position.
Not a good answer.
That's a good answer, I guess.
well, for all the new
You
positions,
don't have to do it.
for all the new positions coming in, let's not give them 3%. How's that sound?
Well, if you don't give the new positions 3%, and you give the guys that are proving themselves 5%, go across the board with 5%. So basically you're saying, don't give the town board, well, Mike Parati's not new coming in, why shouldn't he get a raise?
No,
But you can't
break it
you
that
can't
way.
break it that way.
No.
And who determines who's done what? Who determines who's done what?
Exactly.
Yeah, where do you draw that line?
A 3% is, you're given because of the cost of living. It's not a raise. You know, Peru does things different, and I
Yeah.
think Peru should be commended. People go in, and like Mike would go into their committee and let them know before you sit here and bash anybody that.
Yeah, nobody's
what-
bashing.
No, but I'm
Nobody's
saying.
bashing anybody.
No,
we're not. No,
but
no.
they don't have to lay their
Laundry out on
laundry
the
out in
street.
front of everybody.
Right,
I agree.
right.
That's what should happen, because a new town clerk, tax collector, I guarantee you that they're gonna be here probably double of what I was. And I was here probably making $6 an hour too.
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody should be equal. That's all I'm
So-
gonna say tonight.
You're right.
Thank
So-
you. Thank you, Donna.
63,808 was what he was at, correct, in 2023? Am I reading that right?
Yep.
So if we give him the 5, it'll bring him to 66,998. You might as well say 67,000. So you guys, like I say, have to figure out what you want to do.
At 3%, Mike is getting more of a raise than anybody else here.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying, because of the salary.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to look at.
But he's the only full-time person employed.
Excuse me.
I'll
No,
take offense to that.
no,
No,
I
not
stand
full-time.
corrected.
Supervisor,
Oh, yeah.
same thing.
Well,
If you do your job.
You're right, his job is salaried just like I'm salaried.
Just like the town clerk. That's, can I just say
It
this?
don't matter how many hours we put in.
It doesn't make
Right.
it, you're absolutely right.
Right.
But these guys, superintendent, highway superintendent, and town clerk, that's a full-time job. So if you
Oh,
wanna look at it that way.
Secretary to the
and
superintendent.
There wasn't any question on you, I'm
Okay.
talking elected officials. Elected officials, these
Phenomenal.
guys are full-time, elected officials. So, again,
but she's getting 3%.
Mary's getting 3%. If I was
See
gonna,
what I mean by that now?
Yeah.
if I was gonna change my
Yeah,
opinion
yeah.
on anything, I would say the 3 guys that have proven themselves because they've been here in that position, 5%, everybody else 3%. And the only reason I'm going 5% is because they've proven themselves.
Who's the three guys?
Sam, Mike, Howard.
And nobody else has proven themselves?
That's where you get in trouble. Who's worked harder than
That's
Howard?
right.
But again, I mean, you gotta draw the line somewhere, is that,
That's, again, that's why I said you gotta look at the salary, what everybody else is paying salaries for the same job, and whether you think they're doing the job and doing it well.
So then if the 3% is a given anyway, because it's the cost of living. So if you go to 4%, I think everybody would be surprised and happy. It's like, really?
He's a good negotiator.
I've been doing this for, a while. In front of a lot of supervisors before you came,
so you're saying give everyone 4%?
Then you're done. Because everybody deserves it.
Well, we'd have to redo this whole, work this whole budget.
No, I would just change everybody. I mean, that's if you're
No,
doing
it's-
that.
Mary can do
It's
that.
gonna
and
change
Mary
up,
can do it
Brian.
in 20
You'd
minutes.
almost have to start over so we have somewhere where we know we're gonna be at the end of this
Well,
thing.
you're not gonna know tonight anyway.
No.
Mary, if you took 3% with all our employees except for the highway, what would be the difference in money-wise if you went 4% across the board?
I'd have to figure it out. Everybody's salary is different. I can't give you.
That's what I'm saying, she's
Yes,
gonna have to
ballpark.
go in and.
There ain't no way.
She can't.
You know how many numbers that is? There ain't no way she could
She'd
come
have
up
to
with
figure
it.
everybody's salary and then go
Well,
4%.
how much is our total salary, other than highway? Raise it by 4%?
But I'd have to figure up everybody. You got all
Yeah.
the youth department, you got everybody. But it's.
4% of like Barb's salary is
Yeah, it's
like
nothing.
nothing. She makes what, $1,500 in the year?
I mean, if you want to figure tomorrow, I can give you a figure tomorrow, but I can't give you that tonight.
Our job is to save the town money. I don't know if anybody's looked outside lately, but we have no idea where we're at, where we're gonna be in 6 months or tomorrow even. The whole country's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
The whole world's nuts. Everything keeps going up. If we keep following that same pattern, we should be trying to save money. For the people, for us,
For our taxpayers, that's what we're here for.
And we did. If you look at the budget last year, the general fund went down. So unfortunately, there's some stuff out there that people are putting on their websites that is nowhere near accurate. We went from a general fund of 47 cents a thousand. 30 cents in 2022 and 30 cents in 2023. So we haven't been on a spending spree. We've been very good with the money down here. And we've actually lowered what the general tax is.
It's nice to sit there
highway
and make
goes up.
accusations when nobody can defend them.
I'm not making accusations to anybody in this room.
Yes, you are. You're directly pointing out what I put online.
Well, no, you did that, sir.
No, you did.
I didn't use the name.
But
So-
really, what we've got to consider as well though, and that's a good point, Mike, because take a look at the Morrisonville Water District for one thing, and Macy Lane. Those are both open-ended things. We don't know what's gonna happen there. And if those people are gonna really be suffering and paying a big increase with what they're up against with those two projects, we don't know the bottom number for those folks. And really,
The bottom
Macy
of what?
Lane, with the Macy Lane project, with the Morrisonville Water District project, with them facing a 38-year commitment, things like that. So we're unsure, like Mike says, we're unsure. The inflation is out of sight. People are leaving New York State. They're just taking off, leaving it. And where is the end with this? You're right. I mean, inflation is what,
Yeah.
like 8%?
That's what I'm saying.
It's just crazy.
I'm just looking to keep everything fair and equitable for everybody. Everybody has to live. Everybody wants to be paid a fair wage for what they do. Okay? Nothing has to go extravagant. But you have to be fair and equitable. The minimum wage is going to $15.40 in January.
No, 15, yeah.
And it's gonna, they're not happy until it gets, I think the cap out is right around 18 bucks an hour for minimum wage. 17.90 somewhere.
Barry, what do
18
the
bucks.
summer girls make?
Minimum wage, they were making 13 bucks an hour. Weed whackers, they come in
14,
full of
20 right now.
grass and all
Right.
sweated up.
So they would go up 3% also if you raise everybody 3%.
Well, they're gonna go up anyways, cause minimum wage, like I just said,
Minimum wage
is
is
going up to, I think 15.40?
Minimum wage is going to
Huh?
$15, so they're going up
15,
automatic.
15 bucks an hour, so they're gonna go from 13 to 15. And then the following year, it's, I think it goes.
Now, how does that
up
work?
to 16.
Are they getting 3% on top of $15 that they're gonna get raised to?
No, they're just going to the minimum wage.
They're going to minimum wage.
So they'll just stay at minimum wage? Okay. Because I was gonna say, if that's the case,
But there again, you have to look at the job, what they're doing,
So how come we're
make
not
sure
doing
it's
raises
fair,
accordingly?
because you could go sit at the serving line and hand out food at McDonald's for 17 bucks an hour. And that's why we have a hard time finding help.
Well, I'm gonna go back to what I
Let's,
originally said was, whatever we get, if it's 3% or 4%, I think it should be across the board. Nobody deserves less than anybody else. Everybody is doing it. I think right now, we've probably got the best crew that we could have. Problem is, you got an election coming up, and hopefully, the new people elected are as good as the old people. If they are, then the new board next year can make your wage adjustments. But at this point, you don't know.
All right,
We
so-
don't, like Reg says, there's a lot of things we don't actually know what it's gonna go to. I would still like to throw it out there, everybody gets the same percentage. I'd like to see 3, I'm not gonna be opposed at 4.
I don't think we're gonna settle this part tonight, so why don't we do that? And why don't you redo it at 4%, see what it comes out to for the budget, and see how much that tanks us.
Well, Mike, what do you think it should go?
Well, I think it should be the same. Well, I don't, it's complicated because of the amount of money people make. I do think that 3% of 68,000 is different than 3% of 20.
But the cost of living is gonna go up, is up
On
3.4%.
the other hand, yes, we've always been at 3%, so maybe 4% would kill us. We'd have to know how much would it change at 9% on top of that.
And that's what I wanna do, is continue to stay underneath the 2% tax cap like we always have.
Right.
I mean, I did ask to put in a 2% override, just because of what, you know, we had 2 vehicles in here, people were looking to buy, and there was a couple of raises that were higher than normal, so it's my job as town supervisor to make sure that we cover what our mouth puts out there. So if the budget was higher, I had to have a mechanism in place to allow that to happen, because I'm one on the board. But my intention, hopefully, is to stay underneath the 2% tax cap, but we won't even know that till we plug it in.
But
We gotta
let's
plug it
make
in,
Not to get out, but why don't we go through the rest of the budget?
and get
And I'll
done
do a
the,
4% for tomorrow night, and then just try to get through the rest of it, so I know if I'm gonna be taking anything out or putting anything in.
that's all you just
And
said.
then I'll know.
Yeah, because right now with the 4%, which I wish we could have gotten that years
Right.
ago, but with everything else, you're still, your people are still gonna pay another, what is it? It's gone up 50%, your whole budget.
Well, and again, Mary, that's not a bad idea. I can tell you, inflation right now is at 3.4%. We're talking 4%, we're talking 3%. Why don't we just plug in 3.5% and get it over with? It covers your inflation, it gives everybody a very minimal raise. Everybody is equitable. You know, when you say that Mike is gonna get a 3% raise, well, his cost of living went up the same as 3%. So if you give him 3%, he's gonna get this much. But he lost this much due to inflation. it still comes out to a zero balance. So if you get 3.5%, you're still at it basically where you are right now with inflation. And then adjust it next year. Now I gotta go to the bathroom.
That's what happens when you get old.
So what's the sentence, right? What am I doing?
It's up to the board. What do you wanna do? You wanna have her reconfigure everybody at 3.5%?
I'll go with 3.5.
And see where it puts us?
I mean, the men are getting 4. I mean, that's not hard to figure. You know?
I hate to put it this way because I know Howard and Mike are doing excellent jobs. But, and not pointing fingers at you, Kev, but if that kind of a raise was put out there a year ago, I think we gotta at least go to them a little bit. I think 3.5 is very minimum, but if they're willing to go with the 3.5, I think we gotta go with it. I mean, we opened this up a year ago by giving a raise to someone and everybody else stayed at the set amount.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, we're trying to balance this all back to everybody on the same amount again. We've already went against that.
That pay increase was low to begin with.
What's that?
We agreed on that pay.
I agree.
That
I agree with you.
Pay scale was low that we increased it.
I agree, 100%. I voted for it. But I'm saying we did it. So now we're trying to go back the other way and say, well, everybody should still be going at the same thing, 3 across the board. Well, if that's the case, in 6 months, and they want to put in for more, we did it once, why can't we do it again? That's the way I look at it.
That's why I said, you gotta figure out what the job is worth. And I'll tell you that all night. If it's low, then you fix it. If it's not, and you feel that it's in line with everybody else, then that's where it is.
That's the way I look at it. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, it's just my opinion, but how I feel.
I might be wrong, I've made a lot of mistakes, but if we look at the 3.5% and see what kind of impact that would have on our tax rate, and maybe reconvene tomorrow night and go from there.
Yeah, well, that's what we were saying. We'll keep going with this thing and then have her figure out what it is at 3.5, and then we can finally discuss what it is that we might or might not do with the 3 of them, and what they're asking for. See how it is. See what comes
I'll go with
up.
that. Mike?
Is everybody go with that so we can go through the rest? Because we're not going to know until we punch the numbers in, and Mary can't do that right now. So we'll leave yours alone for right now. Contractual expenses, $500.
And that's for training.
I think that's within reason. Garage personal services, 000. Garage improvement, 0.
I left that the same as last year. I don't know what you guys are doing
Right.
with that.
We added quite a bit to that because of that highway garage floor and the drains up there. So I asked to keep everything in there because when you're going to end up doing that whether you guys want to do it or not. You're going to need an oil water separator up there. It's only a matter of time before we get hammered.
It's the same deal with the salt shed.
Yeah.
We almost should have had that in here because I'm telling you, when they hit us with it, we're gonna be in
The
trouble.
estimate came in high. The estimates are going to keep going up every year. They're not going to go down. I was hoping that, after COVID, everything went extremely high, that things would kind of come back down. The housing market is just starting to right size. It just popped that bubble, but it's not coming down fast. It's coming down slow. So, like I said, that was the reason why I asked to keep that in there, because the last estimate we got up there was a couple $100,000. And that was before we wanted oil water separator up there. That was just for the drains. So some of that got done, thanks to Mike hooking up with Josh. We got all the things done in the front, we got the doors fixed, so that'll come out.
Oh my God, yeah, what a nice,
If we can
very,
get
very nice
a
information.
couple contractors to bid that, like him, maybe we can get it done a little bit cheaper than the big guys. But has anybody got any problem with that? It stays at zero just because we're keeping that large 200,000 that I transferred over. Contractual expenses, you got $2,250.
And again, your kerosene and fuel is,
What's that in here?
your kerosene and fuel
Yeah.
is just,
No,
Where's this truck?
we're almost
coming
at
from?
$4 a gallon for gas right
Where
now.
does your
and
truck
diesel's
come out
gonna
of?
keep going.
highway. We're still
Oh.
in general. Sidewalks, I mean, if you
Mine.
guys, I don't know which ways you wanna
You
do the
good?
sidewalks.
Huh?
The sidewalks, I don't know what you guys wanna do.
I'm gonna tell you what I wanna do. You haven't done a sidewalk in 6 years, take it out.
If you
It doesn't
take-
make any sense. We're looking at a water district and stuff, which is gonna really mess up the side. We're not
Yeah,
messing with
that's true.
sidewalks this year.
Very true.
Take it out.
Go ahead, take it out, and you know what you're gonna end up with? A big issue when you gotta fix this stuff. Because once you have it in the budget, okay, even though we haven't used it, we're gonna roll that over into next year's budget, okay? So it's a zero-sum loss, all right? But there are more sidewalks than here in the town of Morrisonville. You got Schuyler Falls and you got Woods and Mills. And unfortunately, I've been too busy working on the other things, but those really should be straightened out, some of them already. You guys do what you want to do, but you're going to run into the same problem that the board did in previous years. You're going to pare that budget down to zero, and then you're going to have a 80 or 90% increase in 1 year. So go ahead and do it. I'm on
Why don't
I'm
we
not
leave
even gonna be-
12.5 in that? Why don't we cut it in half?
Try to get 100 feet of sidewalk done, Reggie.
But it's been
What
4
do you- what
it's
do you
been
think
4
is gonna
years,
cost?
Kevin. I haven't seen a sidewalk.
All right,
in
so
town.
let me ask you this:
For
if
4
we put,
years.
if we put the money in the budget and we didn't use it, and we rolled it over into the next year's budget, did it cost the taxpayer $1?
It's not the.
Nope.
And it was, and it's maintenance that you could use some of that to hire somebody. I was hoping that we would have summer crews to go around and edge back the sidewalks that you can't walk on and trim some of the brush that you can't walk on the sidewalks, or you gotta walk around the street to get back on them, which is embarrassing as hell for me when I had Melina Tabor there and we were
I'm not
doing that.
disagreeing with it.
I just think, like I said, I think it's nuts. Because the next year, when you do have to do a sidewalk project, and you put 25,000 in a budget, you watch what that does to your number. And try to stay
Same
in
as it's
the
doing right now.
2%
All
tax
right,
cap.
get a realistic number. This is supposed to be realistic.
It is
Are you gonna
realistic.
do any sidewalks this year? Do you know you're gonna do sidewalks? You haven't done them in 4 years. You're definitely gonna do 25,000 this year?
I'm not gonna be on the board to decide that.
I'm not either. I'm just
Okay.
saying. If
All
we're not
I'm
gonna do
saying
them, don't
is,
put them in.
I don't wanna bind their hands, and when they do need to, there is sidewalk work that needs to be done. And not all the sidewalks, even in this village, are going to be messed with. It depends on what side the water main is. Whether they redo the curb stop and sidewalk there. But you still got sidewalks. I just didn't want to mess with anything here until we did the water project because they're gonna rip a lot of it up and you're not gonna know what
Right,
needs to be
exactly.
fixed after. But
that's
you
my
still
only
have Woods Mills, you still have Schuyler Falls. Schuyler Falls, the upper end is really good because the New York State DOT came through and did all that sidewalk on the right hand side, right up to the bridge and across the other side of the bridge. But the rest of it, walk it. It could really use some help.
I'm trying to be able to vote yes on the budget,
Mhm.
and the only way I can do this is start cutting some spending down.
I haven't seen any cuts yet,
Yeah.
just saying.
I'm with you. I understand. But with, yeah, like I said, everybody likes to stay in that 2% cap. I just said that too. I want to stay within that 2% tax cap.
The
But
25,000 is a
out-
little too much.
When you take out, I think we cut that once before already.
It was 28, right?
Yeah,
I think it was 45.
I think so too. I don't think we cut it down. All I'm saying is don't. You gotta be looking as a 20 years out and what you're gonna do. So again, if you decrease your budget and you have to make it up in 1 year, you're gonna have a heck of a time for the taxpayers when you start having a 15% increase or a 30% increase or a 40% increase. So I haven't seen what rose this to 60 cents on 1,000 for the general fund yet. So I gotta look at that and see what that is. Because I haven't seen where we've spent a ton of money yet.
I know, I agree, but we haven't cut any either yet, so.
Well,
And that's
28,
fine, I don't have
28
a problem with 25,000.
25,000 or 28,000 for the truck is an increase.
I have a problem on the 25.
With the what?
25,000 sidewalk. I think it should be reduced. 12.5. We haven't built one in 4 years. Or more than 4 years.
You ain't fixed one either.
Just my opinion.
Thank you.
What do you think, Mike?
I'm gonna do,
It's expensive, you got labor, my labor has doubled. You guys are, no disrespect, sitting and bitching about 3-4%. My labor has went up about 60%. I'm paying kids, can't even read a tape measure, about 43,000 a year. And Devin, I 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. Everything's expensive right now, and I don't see it going back down.
which part are you talking about?
Concrete, foundation, you make up for it everywhere. It's not just one spot, it's everywhere.
Labor.
Yes.
So-
Material, crushed stone,
Look at the bids we just got in.
everything's through the roof right now.
25,000 is not gonna go very far.
No.
That's exactly what I just said. You'd
I
be
agree
lucky
with
to do 100 foot for
But if
25.
we haven't spent anything in the last 6 years,
But what's that money to roll over, right? That's handy for if you guys are doing water mains, get caught. Just saying.
we're definitely gonna have to do sidewalk work, but hopefully it's gonna be in that water project.
Yeah, but you just said that famous word, hopefully.
Yeah.
If it's not and we've got to do it, we could be in
I can
trouble.
go right down Mason Street right here and spend $25,000. But we haven't done it in 6 years, so I'm just saying, if you didn't do it the last 6 years, what makes you think you're gonna do it next year? Especially if you're putting in a water district.
So if you don't replace it next year, you take another 25,000, you got 50,000 just sitting there if you need it, right?
But it's not rolling over. I mean, Mary, how does that
It
work?
rolls
It
over.
rolls over.
It rolls over, just like I said.
Unappropriated funds.
Into the unappropriated funds. It doesn't go into like, okay, you had 25,000 for the last 4 years, so now you got 100,000 in sidewalk fund. Don't go that way.
No.
It goes in the unappropriated funds, so you have 0 in sidewalk funds. So all you're doing is putting $25,000 aside and then taking that 25 and putting it into unappropriated funds. If you're gonna do a realistic budget, you gotta say, okay, we're gonna do 25,000, let's spend it. I agree, put it in, let's spend it. I don't care if we spend it in Woods Mills or
Schuyler Falls or we're here.
but we haven't done that in at least 4 years, right? Yeah. When was the last time when Larry did it?
Just put the money in there and fix them up. Like Kevin said, you go all over it down the rest.
I'm okay with that.
Larry did Woods Mills.
Mhm.
And that was kind of like a debacle too, because he didn't know about prevailing wages and all that too, but
Your
he got
nephew
himself in some issues.
Yeah, yeah, section two. Yeah.
I'm okay with
Yeah,
leaving it in,
you
but
guys-
let's spend it.
Go ahead.
Yes, he did.
Do you want to take it out, take the 25,000 out?
Ready?
I mean, just saying,
You hear what I'm saying?
when you put it in, when you need it,
Buried white.
Take half of it out.
2%.
Ryan,
What?
quick question to Ryan, because he's an expert at it. How many feet can you do for, ballpark? 25,000, how many
You're gonna have the
feet?
engineer plans, or you're gonna go 4-inch, or you're gonna put stoppers, you're gonna put handicap rollers, or you're gonna put noise resolators up for the wheelchair, the click, 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 click. That shit's expensive. Now you got time prepping, gluing, and adhesive. It's expensive, you can run out a couple $1,000 just on a stop at the end of a sidewalk.
So 25,000 is not unrealistic.
Maybe 100, 150 feet of sidewalk, you got a good
You know
company.
what I said, about 100?
If you got a good company, because you know there's no base underneath none of your sidewalks here.
Right.
It's done a half, no disrespect, half-ass. You gotta tear them up, road fabric, #2 stone. It's expensive. And you're paying a man's top dollar sitting in an excavator and skid steer? Big
Because
money.
it's prevailing wage.
Yes. And you got a dump truck getting big money? It's expensive.
You ain't gonna get 100 feet.
You get 100,
Okay.
That's what I
Get
figured,
100,
about 100
100
feet for 25 grand.
and that's
But
great.
again, you guys do whatever you think is best.
I'm okay with leaving it in, as long as we're gonna spend it. I know for a fact there's at least $25,000 in repairs out there right now.
Way more than that.
Way more than that, but I'm just saying, if you don't spend it, why put it in?
I agree with you there too.
So let's leave it in. Now we each go in there.
Yeah. That went up. Everything's going up. So JCEO, basically, 1,244 is what the increase. It's a 7.9% increase for JCEO.
How come they get a raise?
Because it's raising benefits because of their contracts. That's what it's gonna cost to keep them there.
Well, I'm gonna say something, and I never thought I'd be saying this.
Let's see that.
I have wanted JCO here for years. Right, Kev? Begged you to get them in here.
Yep.
At least 10 or 12 years ago we started this. I'm very disappointed. They're here part-time. They're down to 2 half-days a week.
If that.
If that. We had a nutrition program, which was a great program, growing. People were lining up, correct, Mary? You helped out with that. And all of a sudden now it's cut. We get the leftovers from Town of Plattsburgh, from what I'm seeing. I cannot vote for this. I think we should discontinue the JCO program, or at least renegotiate with them. I'm not happy with 8 hours every week at the most. Two partial days. And the problem is, you don't know what day they're gonna be here. Supposed to be here on Tuesday. Well, she couldn't come on Tuesday, she'll be here Thursday. Next thing you know, it's the following week. Well, the food truck is supposed to be here Tuesday, oh, they're gonna start coming on Wednesday. Well, food truck's not gonna be here Wednesday because there's nobody here to accept. It's just been, and I'm sorry, it's a great program. I have pushed for this for so many years. I hate to see it go, but I think we're getting screwed.
I agree.
I agree 100%.
100%. And 2 other items with this. This room, the JCO program is taking over this room. We can't have like a senior citizen activity. Look at it around here. Bananas all over and all that stuff. I think we should drop it. It's a $17,000 savings. And guys want to cut, let's cut. There you go.
I'll agree 100%.
I
I'm
definitely
sorry,
agree with
but they-
cutting it.
I'm gonna agree with Sherman 100%. In the last 4 months, you figure out how much they were here, and you figure out when they were supposed to be here, and they changed their mind. Oh no, I agree with you. They all of a sudden decide they're gonna come a different day. oh, they can't get here today because this is going on. I'm sorry, they're not doing us any favors.
A lot of this is only because I'm right across the street. I know what's going on. And I do.
When they changed their dates, I got on her because I said that people are used to showing up on a certain day.
Yep.
And they got used to showing up on that day. And I don't know if we're getting, I don't want to get into that. I can't say that we're getting the leftovers from the town of Plattsburgh because I really don't know. And I wouldn't dare say that up here unless I knew that. But I know that the food was lessened. I'll just say this too, being fair and equitable. There are a lot of people that utilize that service. Okay, and some of them really need it. So just be aware when you cut that program.
If we cut it, can they go to somewhere else to get the same service?
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I think they
I'm
can go
understanding they can go to Plattsburgh or
Plattsburgh.
to the city
Peru.
or Peru.
But how about right in Treadwell Hills?
Well, that's what
That's
I call
Plattsburgh.
Plattsburgh. You guys got to remember, I pushed like crazy for this program. I'm just very dissatisfied.
And
Very
again, I agree with Sherm that I was not happy with the way it was being administered. But we don't have any say on that.
Right.
Some of it was due to, they couldn't hire help, and they couldn't get people. Some of it was training that they were going through. I heard every excuse of why it was. But, like I said, I'm just putting it out there. There's gonna be some people that are gonna be very upset with that decision.
Sometimes when they had someone assigned here and there was a vacancy somewhere else, they'd take them from here and send them there.
Yep.
And then this place would be closed. They had no set schedule forever.
Well, they don't even put the sign out in the yard anymore. That's my opinion. I say we cut it. We have a contract through the end of the year.
Okay.
I'll agree with that.
All right.
Right? You agree with that?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Just making note.
Okay. That didn't change, those didn't change, programs for aging didn't change. You wanna cut that too? If they haven't met in 2 years, you wanna not put that money in this year?
What
are you talking about?
Where are you at?
The senior
Programs for
citizen
the
program.
aging, senior citizen.
May I say something on that?
Yeah.
If you pull JCEO out and seniors have the room back,
Yes.
they may be able to get back in.
It's not, that's not the issue.
It's the issue that they don't have anybody to run it.
Right.
I spoke to them.
So did I. Kevin gave me 2 names to call, and I didn't even get a return call from one.
Let me put it this way. We don't have a youth program because nobody wants to run it. Nobody wants to take the office for the aging. I say we just fund both of them at this time.